The demand. The message arrived on a Tuesday. It came not through radio waves or digital signals, but etched into the surface of Earth's moon. Massive glyphs carved a kilometer deep that altered the face humanity had gazed upon for millennia. The translation took only hours once the world's telescopes focused on the lunar markings, but understanding the implications would take far longer. The Galactic Council had spoken, and Earth had been found wanting. Admiral Helena Chen stood at the reinforced windows of the International Space Command headquarters, her gaze fixed on the distant moon that now bore scars visible even in daylight. 30 years in the United Space Forces hadn't prepared her for this moment. No one was prepared. "How many species did you say are part of this council?" she asked without turning. Dr. Elias Okafor, Earth's leading xenolinguist, cleared his throat. Based on the message structure and the contextual markers, at least 4,000, possibly more. The room fell silent. 30 representatives from Earth's unified governments exchanged uneasy glances. 4,000 spacefaring civilizations, and humanity hadn't detected a single one until they carved their ultimatum into the moon. "And they want tribute," General Zhang stated flatly. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Okafor confirmed. "Resources, primarily. Rare earth minerals, biological samples, water reserves, and—" he hesitated. "And," President Alvarez prompted, "and a percentage of our population." The chaos that erupted in the room took several minutes to quell. When order was finally restored, Admiral Chen spoke the question everyone feared to ask. "What happens if we refuse?" The answer came not from Dr. Okafor, but from the massive viewscreen that dominated the far wall. It activated without command, showing a recording that couldn't possibly exist. The complete destruction of a planet that resembled Earth, but orbited a distant star. The recording showed the approach of sleek, obsidian vessels, the deployment of devices no larger than satellites, and then the systematic dismantling of an entire world. Continents cracked. Oceans boiled. Atmosphere burned. When the screen went dark, a new symbol appeared. A time indicator. "We have 1 Earth week to comply," Okafor translated, his voice barely audible. The emergency meetings continued for 3 days without pause. Military options were proposed and discarded. Earth's most advanced weaponry would be useless against a civilization capable of planetary destruction. Diplomatic approaches seemed equally futile against an entity that communicated through lunar graffiti and planet-killing demonstrations. On the 4th day, an emissary arrived. It descended from orbit in a vessel that defied physics as humanity understood it. A teardrop of liquid metal that moved without visible propulsion and landed on the White House lawn without disturbing a single blade of grass. The being that emerged stood 3 meters tall, with a body that seemed to shift between solid and gaseous states. Its voice, when it spoke, bypassed the air entirely and resonated directly in the minds of all who stood before it. "I am Harold," it announced, the translation somehow perfect despite the alien nature of its thoughts. "I speak for the 4,000. Your tribute has been calculated based on your technological development, resource availability, and genetic diversity. It is fair. It is necessary. It is non-negotiable." President Alvarez, flanked by Admiral Chen and representatives from every major nation, stepped forward. "We request time to understand your demands and prepare an appropriate response." The herald's form rippled with what might have been amusement. "Understanding is not required, only compliance. The tribute will begin with 10% of your mineral wealth, 5% of your fresh water, and 1 million of your kind for study and labor. These are the opening terms. They will increase annually." "And if we cannot or will not meet these terms?" Alvarez asked. In response, the herald projected a 3-dimensional image of Earth. With a gesture that seemed almost casual, the image cracked and burned in perfect mimicry of the recording they had been shown earlier. "The Council has designated your world as Resource Category 3. You are valuable but not irreplaceable. Compliance ensures continuation. Defiance ensures efficient resource extraction through planetary dissolution. The Herald's form solidified slightly. You have 3 of your days remaining to signal acceptance and begin tribute preparations. After the Herald departed, returning to its impossible ship and vanishing back into orbit, the leaders of Earth retreated into emergency session. For hours, debate raged between those who advocated immediate compliance to buy time and those who refused to surrender humanity to alien overlords. It was Dr. Anya Patel, head of DARPA's Quantum Research Division, who finally broke the deadlock. "We don't have the technology to fight them conventionally," she admitted, "but we do have something they don't expect." All eyes turned to her as she activated a classified presentation on the room's secure network. "Project Threshold," she said simply. "It wasn't supposed to be operational for another 5 years, but recent breakthroughs have accelerated our timeline." The screens filled with schematics and equations that only a handful of people in the room could comprehend. Admiral Chen's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "You've stabilized the quantum field?" she asked incredulously. Dr. Patel nodded. "Enough for a limited deployment. We can't save everyone, but we can ensure humanity's survival, and perhaps more." What followed was the most ambitious plan ever conceived by human minds. For 48 hours, the world's greatest scientists, strategists, and leaders worked without rest. Industrial facilities worldwide were repurposed on a scale not seen since World War II. Military assets were redistributed according to a plan that seemed, on its surface, to be nothing more than a futile last stand. When the Herald returned on the appointed day, President Alvarez stood alone on the same White House lawn. Behind her, a single case contained Earth's official response. "The nations of Earth have reached consensus," she announced as the Herald materialized before her. "You will comply," the Herald stated, not a question but a foregone conclusion. Alvarez opened the case. Inside was a single sheet of paper bearing one word written in every human language, from English to Navajo, from Mandarin to Swahili. The Herald leaned forward, its form shifting in what might have been confusion. "This is your response." A single word. "It is," Alvarez confirmed. "And what does this word signify to your kind?" Alvarez smiled for the first time since the message had appeared on the moon. "It means we understand the universe better than you think. It means we've discovered something you haven't. Most importantly, it means that whatever happens next, humanity will not be subjugated." The Herald's form rippled with what might have been uncertainty. "The Council does not accept refusal. Preparations for resource extraction will begin immediately." As the Herald turned back toward its vessel, Alvarez spoke once more. "Before you go, I should tell you that we've transmitted our response to every corner of our solar system. It's being broadcast on all frequencies. It's encoded in the DNA of bacteria we've released into our atmosphere. It's buried in time capsules deep within our planet's crust. Even if you destroy us, our answer remains." The Herald paused. "Your primitive defiance is unanticipated." "That's the thing about humans," Alvarez replied. "We're full of surprises." As the Herald's ship ascended toward orbit, Admiral Chen watched from the Pentagon's command center. Around her, the final preparations for Project Threshold were being completed. "All stations report ready," her executive officer announced. Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. "Then let's show them what that word really means." Across the planet, in hardened bunkers and secret facilities, quantum generators powered up. In orbit, seemingly defensive satellites realigned their positions. And in the Oval Office, President Alvarez looked up at the sky, where the Galactic Council's enforcement fleet would soon arrive. On her desk, the response that would change humanity's destiny forever lay open for all to see. A single word that would echo through the stars. Ascend. The response. The Galactic Council's enforcement fleet arrived 3 days later. 73 ships of varying sizes, from swift corvettes to massive dreadnoughts that eclipsed small moons. They emerged from what Earth scientists could only describe as fold space, appearing simultaneously in perfect formation around the planet. On the Council's command vessel, Grand Executor Vex Troll observed the blue-green world with compound eyes that had witnessed the destruction of dozens of defiant civilizations. Status of the human defense systems. He chittered to his tactical officer. Commander Zilneraj consulted the ship's sensors. Primitive, Executor. Nuclear missiles. Kinetic rail weapons. Rudimentary energy shields covering major population centers. Nothing that poses a significant threat. Vex Troll's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his kind. Typical of Category 3 worlds. They always believe their limited technology will save them. He gestured toward the communications array. Open a channel to their leadership. President Alvarez's face appeared on the command deck's main view screen. Behind her stood Admiral Chen and representatives from Earth's Unified Defense Council. Human leadership. Vex Troll began without preamble. Your response has been received and rejected. The Council's demands are non-negotiable. You will surrender the required tribute immediately, or we will begin the process of planetary dissolution. Alvarez's expression remained calm. We understood your demands perfectly, Grand Executor. Our response stands. Vex Troll's exoskeleton vibrated with irritation. Then you have chosen extinction. We will extract your planet's resources with or without your cooperation. Before you begin, Alvarez replied, I should inform you that we've activated our planetary defense network. It may not match your technology, but I believe you'll find it interesting. The communication ended abruptly. Vex Troll turned to his tactical officer. Scan their defense systems again. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Commander Zilneraj's appendages danced across the control interface. Scanning now, Executor. I'm detecting energy signatures from multiple locations, but they don't match any known weapon systems in our database. Irrelevant. Vex Troll dismissed. Deploy the extraction units. Begin with their Arctic regions. The freshwater ice will be easiest to transport. 5 of the smaller Council vessels broke formation, descending toward Earth's northern pole. Their hulls opened to extend massive harvesting apparatus designed to cut and lift entire ice sheets into orbit. In the Pentagon's command center, Admiral Chen watched the approaching ships on a holographic display. Around her, military personnel and scientists monitored an array of instruments that measured quantum fluctuations on scales never before achieved by human technology. Threshold generators at 90% capacity, Dr. Paddle reported from her station. Quantum field stability holding at acceptable parameters. Chen nodded grimly. Targeted deployment only. We can't risk a full-scale activation until we're certain of the effects. Yes, Admiral. Targeting the 5 vessels approaching the Arctic. Above the North Pole, the Council extraction ships positioned themselves in a pentagonal formation. Their harvesting beams powered up, creating a shimmering curtain of energy that reached toward the ice below. Dr. Patel's fingers flew across her control panel. Threshold points established. Initiating quantum field manipulation. Now, what happened next defied conventional physics. The space around the 5 Council ships shifted, not in a way visible to normal human perception, but at the quantum level, fundamental forces rearranged themselves. The harvesting beams distorted, their energy patterns fracturing as they encountered a region where the laws of physics had been selectively rewritten. On the Council command ship, alarms blared. Executor. Commander Zilneraj's voice held an edge of panic. We've lost contact with the extraction units. The tactical display showed only empty space where 5 vessels had been moments before. Impossible. Vex Troll hissed. Scan the area again. I am scanning, Executor. They're gone. Not destroyed, not damaged. Simply absent. In the Pentagon, a cheer went up from the assembled personnel. Admiral Chen allowed herself a brief smile before refocusing on the task at hand. Status of the threshold generators, she demanded. Operating within parameters, Dr. Patel confirmed. The targeted quantum field manipulation was successful. The alien vessels have been phase-shifted into an adjacent probability state. In English, Doctor. Dr. Patel's eyes gleamed with the satisfaction of scientific breakthrough. We didn't destroy them, Admiral. We moved them sideways in reality, just enough that they no longer exist in our dimensional plane while remaining physically present in the same coordinates. On the Council command ship, Vex Troll's composure fractured for the first time in his centuries-long existence. "Deploy the planetary crackers," he ordered, chittering rapidly in agitation. "Target their largest population centers. We will not be defied by a Category 3 species." 12 massive vessels moved into position around Earth, each deploying what appeared to be a satellite-sized device designed to create sympathetic resonance within a planet's core. The same technology that had reduced countless worlds to rubble. President Alvarez's voice came through the command ship's communication system once more. "Grand Executor, I urge you to reconsider. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend ourselves. Your defenses are meaningless." Vex Troll rage. "Whatever technology you used against our extraction vessels, it cannot protect your entire planet. The Council's will is absolute." "You misunderstand," Alvarez replied calmly. "Our word, ascend, it wasn't just a refusal. It was a declaration of what humanity has achieved. We've ascended beyond the limitations you believe constrain us." As she spoke, the threshold generators worldwide reached full capacity. The quantum field manipulation expanded, not in isolated pockets this time, but in a coordinated pattern that encompassed Earth's entire orbital space. Reality flexed. On the Council command ship, sensor arrays overloaded and shut down. Navigation systems reported impossible spatial configurations. Communications with the rest of the fleet became garbled, filled with temporal distortions that made coherent orders impossible. "What is happening?" Vex Troll demanded, his exoskeleton vibrating with rage and fear. Commander Zilnarage's appendages trembled as she attempted to interpret the chaotic data. "Executor, they've altered the fundamental forces within this spatial region. Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, they're all behaving according to different parameters. That's impossible. No Category 3 civilization could achieve such technology." The view screen activated without command, showing President Alvarez once more. "You categorized us based on what you could observe, Grand Executor. What you fail to consider is that humans are very good at keeping secrets, especially about our most important breakthroughs." Around the Council fleet, space itself seemed to ripple and distort. The planetary cracker devices, designed to function according to the standard laws of physics, began to malfunction catastrophically. Several imploded, creating miniature gravity wells that pulled their deployment vessels into twisted configurations. In the Pentagon Command Center, Admiral Chen monitored the situation with intense focus. "Dr. Patel, status of the threshold field." "Stable for now, Admiral," Patel replied, though perspiration beaded her forehead. "But we can't maintain this level of quantum manipulation for long. The energy requirements are astronomical, and the generators are already showing signs of strain." Chen nodded. "We don't need long, just enough to make our point." On the view screen showing the Council command ship, Grand Executor Vex Troll's composure had completely collapsed. "What do you want, humans? What is your price for ending this attack?" President Alvarez leaned forward. "This isn't an attack, Grand Executor. It's a demonstration, and we don't want tribute from you or anyone else. What we want is recognition. Earth and humanity are now to be classified as a sovereign, independent entity outside the Council's authority structure." "Impossible. The Council does not recognize independence. All species must contribute to the collective." "Then consider this," Alvarez countered. "The technology we're demonstrating, it's just the beginning. We've learned to manipulate reality at its most fundamental level. We could, if pressed, extend these effects to the Council homeworlds themselves." The threat, though never explicitly stated, hung in the vacuum between them. Vextroll's mandibles clicked rapidly as he conferred with distant council authorities through a quantum entanglement device that remained functional despite the distorted physics surrounding his ship. Finally, he turned back to the screen. The Council acknowledges your demonstration. We will reclassify Earth as a sovereign entity, exempt from tribute requirements. And Alvarez pressed. Vextroll's compound eyes flashed with suppressed rage. And we will establish formal diplomatic relations on terms of equality. As the quantum field manipulation gradually decreased, allowing the Council fleet to retreat through fold space with what remained of their dignity, celebrations erupted across Earth. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and emerged not just unscathed, but elevated. In the White House Situation Room, President Alvarez collapsed into a chair, the weight of the past week finally catching up to her. Admiral Chen sat across from her, equally exhausted. Will they honor the agreement? Alvarez asked quietly. Chen considered the question. They will for now, and by the time they might reconsider, Project Threshold will be fully operational. And what then? Alvarez mused. What does humanity do after ascending to the galactic stage? Dr. Patel, entering with data tablets containing the preliminary analysis of the encounter, smiled for the first time in days. We do what humans have always done, Madam President. We explore, we learn, we grow. Admiral Chen nodded in agreement. And perhaps we teach the Galactic Council that there are better ways to build a civilization than through intimidation and tribute. As night fell over Washington, D.C., the moon rose, its scarred surface a reminder of humanity's first contact and the word that had changed everything. But now, those scars seemed less like an ultimatum and more like the first page of a new chapter in human history. The word remained, etched into lunar regolith and into the consciousness of every human being. Ascend. And humanity had done just that.